The limited time Dreamlight Parks Fest event is finally here, and with it, we've been granted new quests, tasks, rewards, and challenges. In today's video, I'll be going over everything you need to know about this limited time event to ensure that you can make the most of this special occasion and reap the full benefits of participating. For your convenience, today's video will be broken down into several easy-to-navigate chapters, so feel free to watch the entire video or simply skip to the chapter relevant to what you'd like to know. We'll discuss each new quest, including some interesting approaches you may have not thought possible. We'll go over all known button locations and provide some clarity on the mysterious yellow button. We'll discuss the 3 new tasks and break down everything you need to know about all 5 popcorn buckets. And finally, we'll dive into the event's community challenge, which offers exciting rewards like large chests and even moonstones. Over the past 2 days, I've been working practically non-stop on this breakdown. So if you find any of today's information helpful, please do me a solid and press that like button. Consider subscribing for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. And be sure to check the video description down below for a link to my Twitch channel and Discord server. I go live with Dreamlight Valley Monday through Friday. And with that, let's get started. Upon logging into your game on May 15th, you should spot a new quest under Scrooge McDuck. And this quest will be titled the Dreamlight Parks Fest. Now, of course, I want you to enjoy your Dreamlight Parks Fest experience, so I'm not going to be telling you what all the dialogue says in these quests. I'm just going to give you a brief idea of what they are and what you have to do. Essentially, Scrooge just tells you that he spoke to the other villagers and everyone's decided to bring back the Dreamlight Parks Fest. At the end of your conversation, Scrooge will then give you 5 new recipe books. These 5 recipes include Mermaid Cupcakes, Mini Cupcakes, Princess Aurora Raspberry Cupcakes, Spaceship Earth Cupcakes, and lastly, Stitch Cupcakes. You'll now have access to 6 new quests, including 1 weekly quest and 5 daily quests. We'll start things off with the weekly quest. This quest is titled Dreamlight Parks Fest Decorate, and it can be started by once again speaking to Scrooge. Initiating the quest will require you to gather several various resources. After placing these resources in your inventory, simply head back to Scrooge, and he'll then ask you to craft 5 colorful park benches and 5 Disney park balloons. After crafting the required items, the next step is to place the items somewhere in the valley. After placing the 5 park benches and the 5 Disney park balloons, simply speak with Scrooge, and this weekly quest will be complete. Upon completing Scrooge's weekly quest, he'll reward you with a very generous 50 green buttons. With the weekly quest out of the way, let's discuss the 5 daily quests, and a fun little tip to get them done much faster. To activate each quest, you'll need to speak to a specific villager. This includes Mickey, Moana, Scrooge McDuck, Ursula, and Wally. I recommend speaking to all 5 before progressing in the quest, and I'll explain why in a moment. Each of these daily quests will require you to make 5 of the new cupcake variants. For example, Mickey's quest calls for the mini cupcakes, and Ursula's quest calls for the mermaid cupcakes. So with all 5 quests active, simply head to a stove or an auto cooker and whip up 5 of each new cupcake. Though for now you may want to stick to cooking indoors, as there is currently an issue causing games to crash when cooking certain recipes outdoors. With that, you're ready to begin phase 2 of all 5 daily quests. And this is where the wording is rather important. Each quest states the same warning. Repeatedly giving cupcakes to the same villager doesn't count. And if you're trying to complete all 5 quests, you may think that means you have to go on the hunt for 25 different villagers. That is actually not the case. You actually can give the same villager multiple cupcakes, it just needs to be 1 from each quest. And this makes it far easier to complete these daily quests. If you have limited playtime or you're just trying to progress quickly, I recommend heading into Chez Remy, as usually there's going to be anywhere from 4 to 6 villagers inside. Once inside, simply choose 5 villagers and give them each 1 cupcake from each quest. With your cupcakes delivered, simply return to each of the villagers who gave you the daily quests, and they'll each reward you with 4 green buttons. And this brings us to our next topic, all known button locations. Buttons are a new crafting material which will be available throughout the Dreamlight Parks event, spanning from May 15th to June 5th. According to the official Disney Dreamlight Valley website, there are 5 buttons in total: the blue button, the green button, the purple button, the red button, and the flower button. Now, there's actually been a lot of confusion over a 6th button, the yellow button, which appears grayed out in the Collections tab. Considering this yellow button was not listed on the official Dreamlight Valley webpage, and it's not necessary for any of the new crafting recipes, it's safe to assume that the yellow button's presence in the crafting materials tab was nothing more than a developer error. It appears the yellow button is already represented in the game as the flower button. Looking closely at the flower button reveals a yellow button at the center of the flower's bloom. So from here on, we'll focus on the 5 buttons referenced on the official event page from Dreamlight Valley's website. After discussing the weekly and daily quest, I think it's obvious how we'll be obtaining the green buttons, as these are primarily quest rewards. Completing your daily quests will give you 4 green buttons, and your weekly quest will give you 50. Next up, we have the blue button. Under the Collection tab, it states you can find it in the Peaceful Meadow or Dazzle Beach, but it doesn't exactly say how you find it. To find the blue button, you'll need to do a bit of fishing. I recommend focusing on the gray fishing circles and keeping the well-fed bonus active. Gray fishing circles offer a fairly high chance of rewarding you with the blue button, and with the well-fed bonus, it is possible to get a lucky critical while fishing, granting you several blue buttons. Next up, we'll discuss the red button and the flower button, as the method in which these are obtained are rather similar. Both the red button and flower button are simply picked up off the ground as forageable items. The red buttons can be found in all 8 of Dreamlight Valley's biomes, though the flower button can only be found in the Plaza and Peaceful Meadow. The most efficient way to gather red buttons and flower buttons is to simply use a level 3 ancient vacuum. Keep in mind, even if you only have one level 3 ancient vacuum, you can move it from biome to biome. Not only does this help you pick up the red buttons and flower buttons much quicker, but it also prevents you from overlooking or missing some that may be a bit hidden. Now, full disclosure, I'm not entirely sure as to the respawn speeds for the red buttons and flower buttons, but from what I've seen, it appears to resemble the respawn rates of flowers and herbs. So checking back every hour or so can yield a few more buttons. And finally, we have the purple button. And this is the only button out of the 5 that can be crafted. This will be very important for later. Crafting a purple button requires 1 blue button, 2 red buttons, and 100 Dreamlight. Now that you know where and how to collect all 5 buttons, let's discuss what they're for. The Dreamlight Parks Fest brings 5 new craftable popcorn buckets which can be found under the Furniture tab in your crafting recipes, each requiring various buttons to create, though the one thing they all have in common is that they require 40 green buttons apiece, which means you will want to be knocking out a few of those daily and weekly quests. These 5 buckets include Metallic Mickey, Pooh's Popcorn Bucket, the Cinderella Popcorn Bucket, the Stitch Popcorn Bucket, and for everyone that theorized Figment was coming to the game, looks like you were right after all, as the 5th bucket is the Figment Popcorn Bucket. And it's also worth mentioning that it appears you can drop the buttons for friends, as I've seen several people out there with all 5 buckets already. So keep that in mind if you want to do a bit of button trading with others. And lastly, heading into your menu, selecting the Dreamlight tab and traveling down to the Village section will reveal 3 tasks. Sweet Samaritan requires players to give out 50 of the new cupcakes, and as a reward, you'll receive the Magic Kingdom map wall decor. Button Maker is completed by crafting 20 purple buttons, and upon doing so, you'll be rewarded with the Retro Magic Kingdom map. And lastly, Popcorn Enthusiast requires you to craft all 5 new popcorn buckets. Upon completion, you'll receive the Vintage Magic Kingdom map. Keep in mind, to make all 5 popcorn buckets, you will need a total of 200 green buttons, 20 purple buttons, 80 blue buttons, 20 of which will be needed to make the purple ones, 70 red buttons, 40 of which would be needed to make the purple buttons, 80 flower buttons, and 2,000 Dreamlight also needed to craft the purple buttons. Once you've collected the necessary buttons and crafted the 5 special event popcorn buckets, your 3 event tasks will be complete and you'll possess all of the limited time Dreamlight Parks Fest items. Of course, you'll also have the option to craft extra or additional popcorn buckets should you end up with extra resources. Now, the buttons and limited time craftables are the Dreamlight Park Fest's primary focus, but did you know that we've also been issued a community challenge and a new redemption code? Featured on the official Dreamlight Valley website, which I will have linked below, is a full breakdown of the Dreamlight Parks Fest, including an exciting new community event featuring 5 community challenges we'll need to work together to complete. Each challenge offers its own unique reward, granting everything from crafting materials to large chests and even moonstones. Prizes and rewards from these community challenges can be found in your mailbox once the challenge requirements have been met by the community. To keep up to date with where the community is on each of these challenges, make sure to keep an eye on Dreamlight Valley socials. The first challenge is the Monument Masters Challenge. This challenge requires 500 players to snap a photo with the partner statue and share it on social media. Completing this challenge will grant all players the Crafting Essentials Pack. Now, I did find this one kind of strange as there was no specified hashtag or tag required for these posts to count, so I'm not sure how the Dreamlight Valley team plans on finding and counting all of these photos. If you want your photo to count towards the challenge, I recommend tagging Dreamlight Valley's official page on whichever social media platform you post your image to. This is what I'll be doing, and I will also be using the hashtag ParksFest24. The second challenge is called Recycle Champions. This challenge requires players to place 350,000 recyclers in-game. Upon completion, players will receive the Main Street Decor Pack, and judging by the name, this pack will likely include the new Main Street pathing added in the recent update. The third challenge is called Collection Curators, and requires players to place 400,000 ice cream stands or pretzel stands from the A Day at Disney Star Path. Upon completion, players will receive a Baking Essentials Pack. The fourth challenge is called Pastry Chefs, and requires players to cook 450,000 Dreamlight Parks Fest cupcakes. Upon completion, players will receive the Mickey Mouse Items Pack. And finally, the fifth and final challenge is called Attraction Enthusiast, and requires players to interact with and ride attractions in-game 600,000 times. Upon completion, players will receive moonstones and a large chest. Keep in mind, multiples of eligible items, rides, cupcakes cooked, and images shared all count towards the community goals. So placing extra recyclers, baking extra cupcakes, or sharing extra photos can lead to challenges being finished faster. And now that we've discussed the community challenge, we only have one thing left to cover for the Dreamlight Parks Fest, which of course is the newest promo code. By using redemption code PARKFEST24, you'll claim a free park recycling bin, park bench, and park lamppost banner, which can help us all get a head start on the Recycled Champions Challenge. And with that, we've covered everything you need to know about the Dreamlight Parks Fest. If you found today's video helpful, informative, or simply entertaining, please do me a very big favor and press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more Disney Dreamlight Valley and gaming content. If you have any questions about the Dreamlight Parks Fest event that weren't answered in this video, please feel free to leave them in the comments below and I'll do my very best to answer. Or drop down to the video description down below and visit me live on my Twitch channel, where I can answer your questions in real time. As always, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the Dreamlight Park Fest.